Coming up, our night is not done yet. Our next comic is Joel Fisher Jr.
What was that? Dan, I can see you. Okay, yeah, so no music for me. It's just myself on this stage. I'm clearly underdressed from what you've seen so far. I look like I came from an interview for Dick's Sporting Goods, but I want to try my best for you all. You know, I almost thought about jogging up on the stage like Gavin. That was really athletic of you, by the way. Nice job. Give it up for Gavin real quick. Nice job. Athletic. I had to reconsider, though. I would have fallen. Would have been pretty embarrassing. Or worse, I could have looked like Joe Biden coming out to his victory speech. Did you guys see that? Hold on. No. Just listen to me real quick. No judgment. So, Vice President Harris is up on the stage. She's doing her thing, you know. We won. Everyone, hooray! Okay? We're going to change the nation. Hooray! And here's the man to do it. Joe Biden. And then, from the end of a runway. Why? Not a curtain, not a door. I would have loved to see this. You know, he opens up the door, comes out in a nice sweater vest, you know, like Mr. Rogers. It's like, hello, America. Won't you be my neighbor? I said, yes, I would. But he didn't do it. No. Came out from a runway. Now, I don't know if you've been to any basketball games, but they do this type of introduction thing where, like, the Lakers, they do this, you know, number 23, LeBron James. And then LeBron James comes jogging out. He does a little powder thing, you know, boom, boom, shoo. Okay? And everyone's cheering for LeBron. Yeah! Now, take LeBron James and replace him with 78-year-old Joe Biden, okay? That's what we're working with here. It was like the man who was planning the event saw that and said, oh, I love the Lakers. You know what? LeBron, I love what you're doing here. Let's get Joe up there, okay, Joe? Come on, you do the same thing that LeBron did, the powder and all right? Yeah. Now just give me that, but more bureaucratic, all right? That'll look really good. Now, the kids will love it. See some youth in you. You know what? What I was thinking when I saw this, I wasn't thinking Build Back Better. No. That didn't come to mind. You know, some of you know the slogan and you got that joke. Thank you so much, by the way, for paying attention to politics. You know, I wasn't thinking Build Back Better. I was thinking, why are you doing this to Grandpa? He's 78. I have relatives who are in their late 70s, early 80s. You know what I would never make them do? Ever? Jog. Or move quickly, for that matter. You have seen enough of life. Take your time. He is the President of the United States, for crying out loud. This would have been better. They cut a giant hole in the center of the stage. Smoke comes up from the hole. We see a throne ascending from the hole. Joe Biden seated with an American flag in one hand and a bald eagle in the other. Guns N' Roses' Welcome to the Jungle plays in the background. I tell you, if he would have been doing stuff like that on the campaign trail, he would have won Texas. He didn't need it, though. He didn't need it. And I gotta say, it's great to see you all here. This is actually a fun night. It's good. You guys like it? This was nice. Having an audience? Yeah. So when we signed up for this, I didn't know if we were gonna have an audience. All right? Now, there's nothing more awkward to a stand-up comedian than just standing in a room by yourself, emitting to silence. And I remember talking to my parents about this, and there's something I should tell you about my parents beforehand. My mom, she's not here right now, but she'll see the recording. Hi, Mom. She is the sweetest, kindest person I know. She's always there for me, always there to cheer me up. My dad, it's a fact about him I can say because he's going to see this. He's my father. So I'm talking to my mom about this class, and I'm like, Mom, you know, we don't know if we're going to have an audience, and it'll be a little bit weird. And she's like, oh, and that would be a bad thing. And I'm like, yes, it would. Thank you, Mom. You know, no audience, no laughter. I just tell a joke and it'd be complete silence. Right as I said that, my dad came in the doorway and he said, you should be used to that. Pow! And then walked away. So that being said, it's great to see you all here. You know, Well, I've gone on long enough to probably introduce myself. My name is Joel Fisher. I'm the comedic arts major you probably don't know. None of you are my family, right? Yeah, none of you. That's probably my fault. I don't want to say suffer from, it's kind of a hindrance. I have social anxiety. I'm not big on talking to people. It's something I deal with, kind of cope with, and that's why I use humor. Because, it's the easiest thing, when people are laughing, they can't get a word out, so I don't really have to partake in a conversation. I had a buddy of mine talking about this. He's like, Joel, I'm a little bit confused. I'm like, oh, is it how I'm totally fine giving like a stand-up talk or just a speech in front of a large group of people? He said, no. What do you do if a stranger comes up to you and says hi? That's it? That's what you're confused by? A stranger coming up to me and saying hi? Oh, I'll tell you what I do. If a stranger approaches me at Wanda's, I immediately put my hood up. They say hi, I go, I don't know you, and I just walk away. It's a great way to make friends. I'll try it out sometime. I don't really get this whole conversation thing. And I've been trying to work it out. And it sucks too, having a fear of talking with people and association and friendship. So I've been told it's good, but who needs it? But I've been trying to work on it, and with some fears, you can look back and say the root of my fear is X. Mathematical terms for you. Gavin mentioned that earlier. So the root of my fear is X, or an event you can point back to and say, this is what caused my fears. So let's say you're afraid of heights, all right? You may have fallen out of a tree when you were younger. That can cause it. Say you're afraid of clowns. Maybe you walked in on a relative putting on way too much makeup. But for me, there's no conversation I can look back to and say, that ruined it all for me. Except for maybe the talk. That's pretty bad, right? That's pretty awkward. No kid wants to hear that. No. Teddy Roosevelt. Bet you weren't expecting to hear that, were you? Comedy show, Teddy Roosevelt. My professor's in the back like, what a transition. C minus. Teddy Roosevelt was once shot in the chest while giving a speech, all right? Now, Teddy, being the Rough Rider that he was, this was in 1912, by the way, Wisconsin, if you care. None of you do. I'm going to say it anyways. He got shot in the chest, and he goes down, and he takes a moment to gather himself, quite literally, putting the stuff back in. He's shot in the chest, takes a moment to collect himself, gets back up, apologizes, and continues the speech. I stubbed my toe. I'm down at least 30, 45 minutes. It doesn't matter if I'm in a conversation's done with, but Teddy got back up and kept going. William Henry Harrison. I bet you weren't expecting any of this historical references, were you? These are like over your head. This is great. I'm up here. Lights. You have nowhere to go. It's like history class for all of you. William Henry Harrison gave one of the longest inaugural addresses in history, all right? Gave this in the pouring down rain, was offered an umbrella, said no, it'd make him look weak. You know what else made him look weak? Pneumonia. He died 30 days into his presidency. Shortest presidential term in history. Now, I did not expect laughs on that one. Thank you so much. I bet you're wondering about the historical references. These are all things I was taught in high school, that I'm supposed to know for tests. And they don't suit me later on in life. These are facts that, like, Teddy Roosevelt shot in the chest. William Henry Harrison, 30-day presidential term, all right? I don't know how income tax works. I act like I do. If it comes up in conversation, I nod my head and smile, But it just right over my head. And I don't need to know what a mortgage is or how to refinance a home when I know that William Jennings Bryan was nominated for the presidency 3 different times and lost all 3 times. That last bit was supposed to take up 2 minutes of the time. Sorry. I'll get that wait. I counted it today when I was doing this in the closet, so my roommates couldn't see. I'm like, what's the voices? They don't care. Yeah, because I had 2 extra minutes. I did the whole thing, so I was like, why not throw a joke that I cut in? I did not expect any laughs, so thank you so much on that part. Yeah, it's very good. You know, there's a funny story about how I got this watch. It's longer than 2 minutes, though, so I can't tell it now. All right, and we should just be coming up on the... Is it the big hand or the little? Oh, it doesn't matter. Okay. You know, winter break was a while ago. It was a pretty long winter break. You guys have a good winter break? Yeah, some of the parents are nodding and saying, yeah, you're not in school. What do you mean winter break? Although I appreciate that. Winter break, I did what most people do. You know, I sat back, Netflix. That was great. I watched a show called Alone. Have any of you seen this? They take 10 people and they stick them in the middle of nowhere. 10 survival experts, and they say, don't die, and we're gonna watch you live. For our entertainment, you know, these people struggling for starvation and food, and I'm just sitting there with a full bag of chips, and I'm just like, yeah, Daniel, eat that rabbit, you can do it. Oh, these lays are delicious, though. And there were a few things that were off to me about the show. For some reason, I got super into it. I finished the whole thing in 2 days, which took up a ton of my time, but it was winter break, so it didn't really matter. But I watched the whole thing, and it went in stages. Like the first episodes, the first few, I would watch it. I wasn't really into it. The second one, I started finding my favorite character, you know, but it's actual people, which is horrible to think about. I was thinking of the characters. But then, you know, the third stage, which was the extreme one, I started like becoming angry and caring for no reason about some of the survival choices these people were making. I'm like, that's not how you use a crossbow, Daniel! Come on! Why would you skin the rabbit from the back? Do it from the front, everyone knows this. We saw this in episode 3. This is one guy, they had been out in the middle of nowhere for 30 days, okay? And there's no one with them. They just have a camera by themselves, a little like camera setup, and they just document their journey. And you know, there was this one guy named Barry, and I feel really bad about doing this, but Barry, day 30 came, and he is weeping into his camera. He's like, I didn't think it was gonna go this long. I miss my family. I just really want to see my kids. I'm like, Barry, the show is called Alone. What did you think was gonna happen? It's day 30, pick it up. And I said that with like the confidence of someone who would have had a fully furnished log cabin built by day 30. Stupid half of my brain is like, I wouldn't be doing what Barry is doing come day 30. No. My rational side kicked in, was like, yeah, because you'd be dead by day 2. It's the rational side's my dad, by the way. How many theater people do we have here, by the way? It's a lovely building. Pretty nice. Quite a few. I've heard some expressions from theater people to me. I don't really get them. I'm not a theater person at all. The first one is, there are no small roles, only small actors. Okay, yeah, that could work. Second one, there is no role insignificant. No role too insignificant. Every role has a purpose. You know, I played a pea in a pod once. And looking back, I don't see any significance to the plot of Jack and the Beanstalk that P number 3 played. Now, some of you are like, I don't remember P and Jack and the Beanstalk. I don't either. I don't. For those of you who are not up to date on your Jack and the Beanstalk lore, he's there. He's at the market. He's one of the things that Jack did not buy. Now, I did this as a young little boy, and it was Federal Way Community Theater. None of you know where Federal Way is. It's up in Washington, small little town. We're not really known for our theater, obviously, because we'd have peas in the show, but I was with 3 other kids, and we'd come up, and we dress in spandex suits, and we have our green little blankets on our heads, and, you know, there was Manly P, and then there was Sweet P, and then there was me. I was P number 3. My line was Tutti Frutti, and I delivered it with excellence. P number 1 would come up, Manly P. Jack would walk around and be like, I wonder what I should buy. Everyone knows what he's gonna get, though. He doesn't get the peas. Manly P comes out, Hi, Jack. And then Sweet Pea comes out. Hey, sugar. And then there's me, P number 3. And my entrance, I look back at this. I was like 6 at the time, but I'm a critic now, looking back. My entrance, it wasn't like Jack comes out and was like, oh, thank God you're here, P number 3, we needed you. Those two come out, all right, and I enter from the side, and I do this little sideways hop. And the parents were like really sad, like happened to see this, and they're like, oh my gosh, there's our kid. And I come around, I do this little turn thing, and then I go tutti frutti, and that was my whole gig. That was my line. It was great. I did it. It was excellent. Looking back though, out of the 3 that were there, I played the stupid P in a child production of Jack and the Beanstalk. That is my only theatrical experience so far. I have been asked to do theater several times, and I am scarred by that performance. I also participated, I don't want to say it was a production, our school would do concerts. You know these, like elementary schools, they do like the spring concert and the winter concert. The winter one was the big one. I was so excited. I finally got to audition. I reached the age of the kids they were looking for. All right, I show up. 5 kids audition. There's 6 roles to fill. They grab some random kid and pull him in. You're auditioning now, Bobby. Well, Bobby gets the lead for some reason, but looking back, I'm not bitter. I think it was the right call out of the 5 of us that auditioned. Because we all played, like meaningful, crucial characters. We were all significant. You remember the quote, You had Mary, you had Joseph, you had Jesus, and you had Shepherd number 2 in the background doing his thing. That's the Son of God right there, and I'm holding a staff. Hi, Mom. I haven't reached the point of experience where I know how to transition to water, but long pauses will have to do for now. I'm sorry, this is still new to the thing. One time during a winter concert, I decided to shake it up a little bit. I joined the band. Now, the band's gig was they would perform before the acting would start and before the kids would come out singing. The problem with our band was, though, we were really, really bad. And it wasn't the conductor's fault. It wasn't any of the teachers or the program. We'd have people like the brass section would just fall asleep. And then the flute people would try and wake them up, but they're too young to get a sound out of the flute, so it'd just be spitting on them. And it wasn't really coordinated. And we were so bad that I remember the best compliment we ever received was someone's grandmother showed up to us. She sat down day after the concert. She looked at us and she said, most years I can't tell what you guys are playing. But this year, with some of the songs, I had a guess. And our conductor was like, oh, be proud of that. That was good. And the entire time I'm hearing this, I'm like, lady, why do you keep coming? This is the same thing every year. This isn't one of the experiences where parents are just like, it gets better every year. It doesn't. It's the same. It's terrible. I don't get it. A lot of things I don't get. The White House has a 4-star rating, Google reviews. Some of you are like, wow, that's pretty high. You're part of the problem. We are now rating historical landmarks. Why? Who are these for? Are there people in Virginia that are just sitting around like, hey, we should go to the White House. And one of us just like, I don't know, are the reviews good? That has never happened. Looking at the reviews for the White House. I've been to the Colosseum in Italy, okay? And you know what I wasn't thinking when I was there? I wasn't thinking about a star rating. I was thinking, wow, this is huge. I'm in Italy. It's great. Imagine if I were to go to Paris, spend all my money, show up there, see the Eiffel Tower, there's people taking photos in front of it, because this is a big thing for them. If I was to just go in front of them and be like, wow, It's the Eiffel Tower. 3.5. And then just walk away in front of these people. The biggest achievement, like, oh, I finally saved up, we can go, honey. And then some college jerk shows up at 3.5. You been to Vegas? It's better there. And 4 stars. You think about it, that's not even that high compared to, like, 5 is what you're shooting for, but there's still like 0.2, 0.1, 0.4. Like, why not 4.5? That'd be great, but 4. I mean, am I the only one that has a problem with us using, like, the scale we use to measure our quality at a Denny's to the White House? Stars? Really? That's what we're shooting for? And 4 stars? I mean, there has to be a Denny's with 5 in this country somewhere. Do you imagine that on the reviews for the White House? My wife Susan and I went to Washington, D.C. recently with our son Trevor. It was a great experience. We went to the White House, had a lovely time. Our tour guide was happy and helpful. They answered all of our questions. They knew everything. The gift shop was plentiful in its bounty. It was a great experience to walk in the footsteps of previous presidents. But it's no Riverside Denny's. Thank you, everyone.
All right.